Hi, here is the lecture 3 on the chapter number 4, moving charges and magnetism. Here we learn about the Biot-Savart's law and the explanation of Biot-Savart's law, which is very important. Also we will learn about the magnetic field at a point on the axis of a circular coil carrying current. Only two objectives but long one. So now coming to this Biot-Savart's law. Notice here we have got a conductor XY. This is a conductor XY carrying the current I. So we have got a conductor XY carrying the current I. And we have considered only a small part of this conductor of length dl. We call it as current element. So we have considered out of this entire conductor XY, we have considered only a small part of the conductor of length dl, and here is the point P. This point P is at a distance r from the current element. The point P is at a distance r from the current element, and alpha here is the angle between the line joining the point P and the current element and the current element. I repeat again, here XY is the conductor carrying the current I. dl is the small part of the conductor, that is small part of the conductor current element. P is a point at a distance r from the current element where the magnetic field is to be found. So P is a point at a distance r from the current element where the magnetic field is to be found. Here alpha is the angle between the line joining the current element and the point P with the current element again, which means alpha, you can briefly say that it is the angle between dl vector and r vector. dl is a vector, r is a vector. So alpha is the angle between dl vector and r vector. That is the easy way of telling. So that is the thing. Now according to this Biot-Savart's law, which is also known as Laplace law, the magnetic field here, the magnetic field at the point P, magnetic field produced by a current element is directly proportional to the current. That is one thing. It is also directly proportional to the length of the current element dl. That is second thing. So two things you have to understand from this slide. That is, the magnetic field at a point due to a current element is directly proportional to the current passing through the conductor. Second one, it is directly proportional to the length of the current element. That is directly proportional to the length of the current element. The third one, it is directly proportional to the sine of the angle between the direction of the current element and the line joining the current element to the point, that is sine theta. That means you just have to say, that is, the magnetic field is directly proportional to sine alpha here, directly proportional to sine alpha, where alpha is the angle between the current element and the line joining the current element and the point P, or alpha is the angle between dl vector and r vector. Remember that. That is the third one. The fourth important point is that the magnetic field is inversely proportional to square of the distance between the current element and the point. So four things you remember. One, see that the magnetic field is directly proportional to the current I. It is directly proportional to the dl, length of the current element. And third one, it is directly proportional to the sine theta or sine alpha, where alpha is the angle between dl vector and r vector. It is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the current element and the point P. Four things. So once you have learned these four things, then combining the things here, you will get, see this one, dB is proportional to I, one thing. dB is the magnetic field at the point P. due to that current element. You should know what is dB. dB is the magnetic field. dB is the magnetic field at the point P due to the current element. Check this one. Suppose if you want the diagram, look at this one. Here at the point P, the magnetic field produced is dB, and the magnetic field produced at the point P, dP, is only due to dl. We are not considering the entire conductor. We are considering only the part of the conductor whose length is dl. The magnetic field at the point P due to the current element, that is dB, that is dB. Okay, so that dB, check this, that magnetic field is proportional to what? Current. Proportional to current element, length of the current element, proportional to sine alpha, where alpha is the angle between dl vector and r vector. dB is inversely proportional to square of the distance. Now suppose if you combine all these things and write it in one equation, you will get dB is proportional to ideal sine alpha by r square. In the place of alpha, you can also use theta. So dB is equal to ideal sine theta divided by r square. Here dB is equal to k. Remove the proportionality sign, you will get a constant k, ideal sine alpha by r square, and that value of constant is equal to mu naught by 4 pi. So dB is equal to mu naught divided by 4 pi, ideal sine theta divided by r square, ideal sine alpha divided by r square, whatever. Here you should understand that mu naught by 4 pi is a constant. We have a constant in electrostatics, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Similarly, we have a constant here, that is mu naught by 4 pi. That is a constant. So here mu naught is known as permeability of free space. There epsilon naught, if you remember, epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. Here mu naught is the permeability of free space. How easily the magnetic field lines can conduct. How easily the magnetic field lines can conduct, that is represented by mu naught. The value of mu naught, mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. If you remember epsilon naught, the value of epsilon naught is equal to 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12 Farad per meter. Farad per meter, it is epsilon naught. Mu naught is Henry per meter. So K is equal to mu naught by 4 pi. Mu naught by 4 pi. The value of mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter, or Tesla meter per ampere. So this is Biot-Savart's law. Remember, Biot-Savart's law gives the magnetic field due to a current element. Magnetic field due to a current element, dB is equal to mu naught divided by 4 pi I dl sin theta divided by r square, or I dl sin alpha divided by r square, where theta and alpha both means the same, and that is the angle between the dl vector and r vector, angle between the current element and the line joining the point P and the current element. So therefore that is the value, that is the meaning of theta. So dB is equal to, which gives you the magnetic field due to a conductor carrying current. So that is for a small part of the conductor. dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin theta divided by r square. Remember this. Now suppose if you want to write this Biot-Savart's law in vector form, why do we need Biot-Savart's law in vector form? Because magnetic field is a vector quantity. Because magnetic field is a vector quantity, it has got direction also, and therefore direction specification is very much required. Unless the direction specification is required, the knowledge is quite incomplete. Therefore direction is very much required. Therefore listen properly, Biot-Savart's law in vector form is very important. Now check this one. Generally this represents the magnitude of the magnetic field. dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin alpha divided by r square represents the magnitude of the magnetic field. And same equation you can write it as I dl multiply by r in the numerator and multiply by r in the denominator. So r in the numerator, r in the denominator, or one more r in the denominator gives you r cube. Now I dl r sin alpha, I, dl, r sin alpha. I is one term, dl is one term, r is one term, sin alpha is one term. So ideal r sin alpha. Now if you remember the cross product of the two vectors, a cross b, a cross b is equal to ab sin theta. You know that a cross b is equal to ab sin theta. So similarly here dl r sin alpha, we can write dl cross r, because dl cross r represents dl r sin theta. Here you should understand that this alpha is the angle between dl vector and r vector, angle between the length, I mean current element vector and the radius vector, displacement position vector. So dl cross r it is. So db, vector db is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I into dl cross divided by r cube. Now direction of db, always remember a cross b. A cross b is equal to ab sin theta n cap. A cross b is equal to ab sin theta n cap. That n cap represents the direction of a cross b. N cap represents the direction of a cross b, which is in the plane perpendicular to both a and b, which is perpendicular to both a and b. A vector and b vector perpendicular to both the vectors is a cross b. So that means the direction of cross product, please remember, the direction of cross product is perpendicular to the plane containing the two vectors, perpendicular to the plane containing the two vectors. So here remember, here it is perpendicular to dl and r, db is perpendicular to dl and r. So direction of db is always perpendicular to the plane containing dl vector and r vector, which can be found by using right hand thumb rule. You can find the direction of the magnetic field using the right hand thumb rule or right hand palm rule. Say suppose if you have two vectors a and b, you have to rotate your four fingers of the right hand from a to b, from the direction a to the direction b, a to b, and the thumb points in the direction of the a cross b, in the direction of a cross b. So that is what you have to understand. I have taught you that vector product of two vectors. So this is vector form of Biot-Savart's law. So having learnt about the vector form of Biot-Savart's law, now here we come to our next concept, that is the magnetic field on the axial line of the circular coil. Magnetic field on the axial line of the circular coil. It is very important derivation. This equation is asked frequently in the examination, board examination. Very important. So therefore please learn the derivation because it is very important. This question definitely appears. This question definitely appears, therefore it is important. Now please listen to what I say. Here we have got a circular coil. Imagine this is the circular coil. Circular coil, my hand, you just look at my hand. This is the circular coil. The way it is kept, it is not kept like this, it is kept like this. Circular coil, you can imagine a ring. You can imagine a ring in the place of this circular coil. Okay, so this is a circular coil. And the circular coil is carrying the current I in the anti-clockwise direction. It is carrying the current I in the anti-clockwise direction. That is one point. Second point, the center of the circular coil is O. O is the center of the circular coil. R is the radius of the circular coil. On the axis of the circular coil, there is a point P. On the axis of the circular coil or the axial line of the circular coil, there is a point P, and the point P is at a distance x from the center. So the point P is at a distance x from the center. So consider a circular coil of radius r having a center O carrying the current I in the anti-clockwise direction. I repeat, consider the circular coil of radius r with the center O carrying the current I in the anti-clockwise direction. Let P be a point at a distance x from the center on the axial line. Let P be a point at a distance x from the center on the axial line. Okay. Now observe these two things. KL on the top here, KL on the top and Mn at the bottom. So KL represents one current element, small part of the circular coil on the top, and diametrically opposite is Mn, that is another current element. There are two current elements that we have considered. One is KL. KL is one current element whose length is DL, and Mn is the other current element whose length is again DL. DL and DL, top and bottom. See that we have considered one current element at the top of the circular coil and another current element exactly diametrically opposite to that, another current element Mn. And these current elements are at the distance A from the point P, are at the distance A from the point P. Now observe this one, theta is the angle made by X and A. Theta is the angle made by X and A. So if X and A, X is the line joining the center of the circular coil and the point P, A is the this A is the distance between the current element and the point P, and the angle between X and A is theta. Remember, angle between X and A is theta. Here also theta, because all these values remain same. Okay. Now I hope you have understood so far the diagram very clearly. You have understood. Now we have considered a circular coil of radius r with center O carrying the current I in the anticlockwise direction, and P is a point at a distance x from the center along the axial line along the axis, and KL and Mn are the two small current elements, each of length DL, and the distance of the current element from the point P is A, and the angle between X and A is theta. This is what you have to learn. So once you are clear with this, we can proceed with the next one. Now please listen. So here see that I just want to explain you this very clearly. Same diagram, we have taken the same diagram here. Now so the importance is this. Now there is a circular coil carrying current. This circular coil carrying current produces the magnetic field. You know that a conductor carrying current produces the magnetic field in the region surrounding the conductor. Very first class we have learned this, Oersted experiment. Similarly, a circular coil. Imagine a circular coil kept like this, and you are standing in front of the circular coil, looking at the circular coil. You can notice that the current is flowing in the anti-clockwise direction. You are somewhere here, you are somewhere standing here, and you are looking at the coil. The current is going in the anti-clockwise direction, and where you are standing there is a point P, and you join the point P and the current element KL, join the point P and the current element Mn, join the center of the coil and the point P, all these things. If you join the center and the point P, that distance is X, the other two distances are A. Now at the point P there is a magnetic field. At the point P there is a magnetic field produced due to this current carrying coil. Due to this current carrying coil, the magnetic field is produced at the point P, and our aim is to determine the magnetic field produced at the point P, which is the axial point due to the circular coil. So suppose if you derive the expression, the magnetic field is B is equal to mu naught Ni r square divided by 2 into r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. This is the magnetic field at a point on the axis of the circular coil carrying current. Here r is the radius of the coil, x is the distance of the point from the center of the coil, and I is the current flowing, n is the number of turns. Suppose in this right now you can see only one turn. Suppose if there are n number of turns, you just have to multiply n. I is the current, r is the radius, mu naught is the permeability of free space. Mu naught is the permeability of free space. Its value is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. Now second thing, suppose if you put x is equal to 0, this point P comes to the center. Point P comes to the center of the coil. Point P comes to the center of the coil if you put x is equal to 0. Putting x is equal to 0 in this equation, you will get B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2r. This is the magnetic field at the center of the circular coil. This is the magnetic field at a point on the axis of the circular coil carrying current. Now we will proceed and learn how we arrive at this equation. Derivation is also an important aspect, so therefore how we arrived at the equation is also important. Now let me tell you very clearly, if you can understand the things, then only you will be able to remember this, otherwise it is difficult. And it is important to understand every concept in physics, and mugging up, cramping is not the way to learn the things, so therefore understand very clearly. Now coming to this diagram again, consider a circular coil here of n turns, radius r, carrying the current I in the anticlockwise direction as shown in the figure. P is a point at a distance x from the center O of the coil on the axis of the circular coil. Let KL, this KL and MN, KL and MN are two diametrically opposite small current elements, each of length dl, each of length dl. Now because there is a current element here, and the point P here, there is a magnetic field, the magnetic field is there at the point P. Listen, the magnetic field is there at the point P due to the current element KL, as well there is a magnetic field at the point P due to the current element Mn. So now first let us consider the magnetic field produced at the point P due to the current element KL, and that magnetic field, check this one, the magnetic field at the point P due to the current element KL is given by dB is equal to, that is according to Biot-Savart's law, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin theta divided by a square, ideal sin theta divided by a square. Now this is the magnitude of the magnetic field produced at the point P due to the current element. See, the distance is a, the distance between the current element and the point P is a, therefore we have written a square here. And here understand, please understand, theta is 90. I mean theta is the angle between what is the dl and r. In this case theta is the angle between dl and a. Theta is the angle between dl and a. If you want to understand that, dl, you just look at my hand, this is the circular coil, dl is in this direction, and a is in this direction. So dl and a, dl, that is the length of the current element, is in this direction and a is in this direction, therefore dl and a makes an angle 90 degrees. dl and a are perpendicular to each other, therefore theta is equal to 90 degrees. Theta is equal to 90 degrees. Here theta is different. So dl and a, theta is 90 degrees, sin 90 is 1. Therefore dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi idl divided by a square along PM. Here this point is P, this is M. If you look at the cursor only, you will understand this point is P, this is M. So PM, that means along PM the magnetic field is produced. You know that very clearly. It is perpendicular to the plane containing the current element and the radius vector A. So dl is in this direction. Observe, dl is in this direction and it is in this direction. What is that? A is in this direction. It is perpendicular to both. dB is perpendicular to both. I know that the things will not be very clear for you, but for the timing you have to understand this. So dB, please listen, dB is the magnetic field at the point P due to the current element KL. And similarly there is one more magnetic field dB, that is again due to the current element Mn. So due to the current element Mn, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi ideal sin theta by a square. For the same reason sin theta is 90, sin 90 is 1, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi ideal by a square, but this is along Pn. This point is P, this is P, this is N. Now this is along Pn. So due to Mn, current element Mn, there is a magnetic field dB in this direction. Due to current element KL, there is a magnetic field in this direction. Now so it is simple that this magnetic field dB, you have to resolve in two directions. One, dB cos theta, that is the vertical part, and dB sin theta, that is the horizontal part. That means dB sin theta along the along the axis. dB sin theta along the axis, dB cos theta perpendicular to the axis. And similarly this dB also you resolve. Second one, the dB due to mn also you resolve. If you resolve that, you will get dB cos theta along the vertical downwards, and dB sin theta along the axis. So now we have got this dB cos theta and dB cos theta, which will cancel, and dB sin theta will add up because both are in the same direction. So therefore the net magnetic field, the total magnetic field due to KL and Mn, only KL and Mn we have considered only two current elements, that is, one is KL, the other one is Mn, diametrically opposite. We have not considered the entire coil, we have considered only a small part of the current element, one here and another current element here, which is diametrically opposite. Due to both these parts, the magnetic field will be 2 dB sin theta, because dB sin theta is the magnetic field along the axis due to KL. One more dB sin theta is the magnetic field at the point P due to the current element Mn. dB cos theta components will cancel out and dB sin theta components will add up. So that is one thing. Now listen here. See that the magnetic field dB Pm is resolved into two components, dB cos theta and dB sin theta. dB cos theta and dB sin theta. Cos theta components cancel. See that the components along Py and Py dash cancel, that is, cos theta components will cancel, and while the components along Px add up. That means the resultant magnetic field is given by B is equal to 2 dB sin theta. This is the magnetic field, 2 dB sin theta. Listen, the magnetic field is 2 dB sin theta, and total magnetic field, if you consider total, now so far we have considered only this current element KL and Mn. If you consider the entire coil, then you will get the total magnetic field. The total magnetic field is equal to sigma 2 dB sin theta. We now know the equation for dB. 2 I have written like this: dB is mu naught ideal by 4 pi a square, mu naught by 4 pi ideal by a square into sin theta. So here mu naught by 4 pi I theta a square all are constants. So therefore sigma is applicable only for dl. Check this one. Here K to L, the length of the current element is dl. So we have got so many dls, dl up to this point we have to come. So we starting from the top, we have to come here up to this point. So this is dl, one more dl, so many dls, dl will come here. So we need not go up because one KL, if we consider, we have got Mn. If we consider any other part, say AB, we have got diametrically opposite part. So therefore we need not go complete once round, we just go half of the round. If we go half of the round, it is enough, because other half is taken care by diametrically opposite corners. See that from KL to this point, if we come to this point, it is enough from KL to this point, because the diametrically opposite parts will take care of the remaining things. Okay, so that is the reason sigma dl is equal to pi r. It is not the entire circumference, because we have to travel only half of the circumference, because the other half is taken care by the diametrically opposite elements. This 2 is already, we have got this 2. Therefore that is the thing. So in the place of sigma dl, we can write pi r. I repeat again, why we are taking only half of the circumference. Check this one. See that KL is one element, and similarly we have taken Mn. KL and Mn put together produces the magnetic field, which is equal to 2 dB sin alpha or 2 dB sin theta. This put together KL and Mn. So therefore if you consider one more part, say for example AB here, and diametrically opposite part A dash B dash is automatically considered. Then again if you consider CD here, C dash D dash is considered. So therefore we need not travel the entire circular path, only if we travel the half of the circular path it is enough, half of the circular path it is enough. So because other half is taken care by the diametrically opposite elements. So sigma dl is half of the circumference, which is equal to pi r. So in the place of sigma dl, write pi r, and from the figure sin theta is equal to r by a. Check this one. Sin theta is opposite by hypotenuse, r divided by a. So therefore you have to now substitute for sigma dl, that is pi r, and in the next case you will substitute for sin theta. Sin theta is r by a. Sin theta is r by a. So in the place of sin theta you have to write r by a and pi r here. Pi will cancel. No, they have written pi also. Okay, fine. So mu naught divided by 4 pi. Mu naught divided by 4 pi. This 2 is now written 2 pi I in r into r, I r square you will get. Mu naught by 4 pi 2 pi I r square by a cube. So that is the magnetic field. So mu naught by 4 pi 2 pi I r square by a cube, that is the magnetic field. From the figure further, a square is equal to r square plus x square. Check this one. A square hypotenuse is equal to r square plus x square. A square is equal to r square plus x square, hypotenuse square, Pythagoras theorem. So therefore a square is equal to r square plus x square. A is equal to r square plus x square to the power of, and if you multiply a square and a, this a square and a, you will get a cube. A square and a, you will get a cube. Therefore a cube is equal to r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. Now in this we have got a cube. Check this one, a cube. So therefore substitute for a cube. So mu naught by 4 pi 2 pi I r square, 2 pi I r square divided by r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. Suppose if you cut this pi and pi, 2 goes 2 times here. So therefore mu naught I r square you will get. Mu naught I r square divided by r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. You can also write that way also. For n number of turns, just multiply n. So you will get mu naught by 4 pi 2 pi ni r square divided by r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. This field acts along the axis. That field acts along the axis because see that the magnetic field, you know this is the dB sin theta and dB sin theta. Because these components will cancel, what only remains is dB sin theta and dB sin theta. Both these components are acting along the axis. Therefore the magnetic field at the point P is along the axis. The magnetic field at the point P is along the axis, and the magnitude of the magnetic field is dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2 pi ni r square divided by r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. R square plus x square to the power 3 by 2, and direction, you know, it is along the axis. Magnetic field. This represents the magnitude. Here this equation represents the magnitude of the magnetic field, and direction, I told you, know, it is along the axis. So that is what dear students. Now one more thing, suppose if you put x is equal to 0, you will now get b is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2 pi ni r square divided by r square to the power 3 by 2, because x is 0. Now r square and this half will cancel, so r cube it becomes. R cube and r square in the numerator and denominator, that goes. If you simplify, you will get b is equal to mu naught ni by 2r. See the variation of the magnetic field. At the center of the circular coil, the magnetic field is maximum. This is the maximum magnetic field which is at the center. As you move away from the center on either direction, the magnetic field decreases. As you move away from the center of the coil. At the center of the coil, the magnetic field is maximum, right? So this is all what I wanted to say in this session. Dear students, I'll come up with more topics in the next session. Until then, you enjoy.